From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
We need to understand how severe this virus is and the surge that is still going in the wrong direction. But we've got some hope finally, Wolf, and I'm excited.
The first Americans vaccinated against COVID-19. Now at 5:30, the message from Surgeon General Jerome Adams and why the former Indiana Health Commissioner says we can't let our guards down right now. Plus, hospitals across central Indiana working together as thousands of Hoosiers continue to get the virus. How you can help them ease their burden. And a rebirth of one of Indy's most iconic structures. This morning, we're taking you inside the new Bottle Works Hotel and District ahead of its grand opening. We are opening this morning with a big hello and a good morning to you. Welcome to Good Morning Indiana. I'm Rafael Sanchez here in Studio A. Lauren Casey is off today, and my good friend, meteorologist Todd Closet, is in his home studio with your weather forecast.
And Rafael, it is a cold, cold start out there. As you well know, having come into the studio, I just looked at the temperatures. I said, I'm not even opening my door to check it out here this morning, as we are sitting down in the 20s in all locations. In fact, we're right at 20 degrees in Bloomington. 24 is the current temperature in Indy. 22 is the current temperature up in the Peru area. As we head into northern locations, you factor in just a little bit of a wind, and there's some minor wind chills. It's not as bad as it was yesterday. But wind chills in the teens and 20s across the area. 16 is what it feels like in Indy. It feels like 19 in Bedford. We could have some sunshine here to start the day, but overall the clouds are going to increase. Off to our west, you notice this snow. That's our play for the day tomorrow, as by this time tomorrow, likely snow will be moving into the area. So today is a dry day. You can get out. You can do anything you want. You just need to bundle up a little bit, as high temperatures, Rafael, with the increase in clouds, will be topping off only in the low to mid 30s.
So, Todd, I thought I was awake this morning. I said it was 5:30 just a minute ago. It's only 4:32 in the morning. So some hopeful wishing on my respect, but it's only 4:32 for those of you getting up. Your clock is not moving fast. Traffic is not moving fast either, as you can see here on the city's southwest side. A big good morning to Lebanon, Carmel, and Greenwood as we take a live look at I-465 at I-70 West. An early start to your morning. No major problems to report on the interstate system. This morning now at 4:32, healthcare workers in Fort Wayne are among the first to receive doses of Pfizer's COVID vaccine. A physician, a nurse, respiratory therapist, a pharmacist, a patient care tech, and environmental services technician were all vaccinated just afternoon Monday at Parkview Health Hospital there in Fort Wayne in Allen County. Just over 55,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine are being shipped to healthcare facilities across our state. More doses are expected in the coming weeks. Here locally, IU Health Methodist expects to begin vaccinating frontline healthcare workers tomorrow. 5 pilot hospitals in Indiana are receiving the vaccine first. Those are Parkview Health in Fort Wayne, as I just mentioned, Clark Memorial in Jeffersonville in southern Indiana, and IU Health Methodist right here in downtown Indianapolis. Deaconess Hospital in Evansville and Community Hospital in Munster will also get the vaccine. Like IU Health, Deaconess Hospital and Community Health in Munster, they're still waiting on the first shipments of the vaccine. After the pilot hospitals, the next step will be delivering that vaccine to about 50 sites across Indiana. Meanwhile, the federal government has doubled its order of Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine for a total of 200 million doses. Once it arrives and receives approval, medical supply company McKesson will ship just under 6 million doses. Similar to Pfizer, Moderna's vaccine is given in 2 doses spaced over 4 weeks apart. But it doesn't have to stay quite as cold during shipping and storage. Now, UPS and FedEx will be in charge of getting that vaccine to their destinations. According to the head scientist of Operation Warp Speed, Moderna's vaccine could be approved by the end of this week and ready to ship soon thereafter. Meyer Pharmacies will soon provide COVID-19 vaccines at its stores. Meyer will also look for bigger spaces, possibly stadiums, to hold clinics. The company cited its flu shot clinics at Lucas Oil Stadium and Comerica Park in Detroit earlier this year as examples of what it could do and be possibly done with the COVID vaccine. It's not exactly clear when Meyer will get and administer that vaccine.
Today, we really did get a shot of hope.
Signs of hope as the first COVID vaccines are administered to Americans across our country. U.S. Surgeon General Jerome Adams says the rollout of the first vaccines really marks the beginning of the end of the pandemic. Those are his words. But he also warns Americans that having a vaccine is only the first step. Adams says it's key for everyone to get vaccinated when possible. He also says now it is not time not to let your guards down as we continue to see a surge in COVID cases, hospitalizations, as well as deaths.
The finish line is in sight. The last couple of miles are the hardest, but we've got to keep running. That's why we need to continue to follow the 3 W's: wear a mask, wash your hands, and watch your distance. It's why it's incredibly important that you get your flu shot. And it's why if you have the ability to give convalescent plasma, because you're one of the 10 million people who've recovered from COVID-19, that we encourage you to give convalescent plasma. These are the things we can do right now.
Dr. Adams also says it's key to speak with your healthcare provider if you have any questions about the COVID-19 vaccine. The agency behind popular and key messages like "Friends don't like friends drive drunk" is now working on one of the most important campaigns of this generation. The Ad Council is rolling out a campaign to convince people to take a COVID-19 vaccine. It's expected to roll out early next year when vaccines are more widely available. You can expect a lot of different spokespeople, from doctors and pharmacists to celebrities. There will also be targeted messages to specific groups like communities of color who have been more severely impacted by the virus and tend to have more vaccine hesitancy. According to the recent Pew Research, only about 60% of adults say they would get a vaccine. But health experts say we would need likely between 70 and 80% to get close to herd immunity. While the vaccine is providing some hope, local doctors want everyone to understand that people need to wear their mask and to, of course, remain socially distant. Hospital heads from Ascension St. Vincent, Community Health Network, Eskenazi Health, Franciscan Health, IU Health, and more, they came together to discuss the current status of the COVID crisis in our state. They say that staff, beds, ventilators, and other support systems are really stretched to their limits. IU Health alone has over 1,100 employees in quarantine. This morning, they're asking for help to slow the spread.
I heard from my staff the hope, the light at the end of the tunnel for the vaccine. Oh my gosh, it's just there. But we also are frightened.
We realize that there are unfortunately still dark days ahead. And while the vaccine offers light at the end of the tunnel, that tunnel is long. So we need your help.
As the weather gets colder and people spend more time indoors, doctors say it's more important than ever to socially distance and limit who you spend time with during this season. Franciscan Health is teaming up with Versity Blood Center and the Mayo Clinic to help save the lives of critically ill COVID-19 patients. They're part of a convalescent plasma study. Through it, plasma from COVID patients who've recovered from the virus will be collected and given to those sick with the virus. Antibodies from the donated plasma may help the sick patients fight off the disease much faster. A single donation could help save up to 3 lives. You can learn more about the study and how to donate by visiting the link on your screen, franciscanhealth.org/COVID plasma. The Indiana National Guard is expanding its role in our state to fight, of course, this pandemic. The Guard is sending specialized teams of medics to provide patient support into those hard-hit long-term facilities facing critical staffing shortages. Teams will consist of 4 to 5 members. They're trained to assist with personal care, feeding of residents, and enhanced infection control. This temporary help will be used when a facility has immediate staffing shortages. The new deployments are in addition to the work the Guard is doing at 534 facilities across Indiana. The time now is 4:39. A new life for an Indianapolis historic site. The new Bottle Works Hotel will officially open its doors today. The hotel is among the centerpieces of the $300 million redevelopment of the 1930s Coca-Cola bottling plant here in Indianapolis. The Bottle Works District, which is located on the north end of Mass Ave, also includes a theater, a food hall, shops, parking garage, and more. The hotel features 139 rooms. At the main entrance, a hand railing winds up the hotel staircase in a decorated stairwell that resembles soda fountains, while the ceiling resembles fizz.
This was already a project that was happening prior to to COVID, but obviously I think this really makes people really mindful of how they're spending their time outside of the home, as well as where they're spending their dollar. They're going to want an experience rather than just a cookie cutter hotel or a cookie cutter experience. They want something really special, and I think that's something that we're delivering with this property.
Guest rooms, they will start at around $250. The garage food hall and the living room cinema are set to open in January. Some Hoosier families are breathing a sigh of relief after a move by the Supreme Court. Details on that key ruling coming up. And the NCAA has announced plans for the 2021 Women's Division I Basketball Championships, where they're being held and what fans need to know. This morning, we need to know whether we need to wear our coats and our gloves and everything in between. Todd Clausen is standing by.
Yeah, Raphael, I would take all the warm weather gear here throughout the course of the morning hours today and really throughout much of the day. It's going to be a chilly day for us, but it's going to be dry. However, this snow off to our west, that is going to swing in our direction by about this time tomorrow morning, bringing us some accumulating snow across parts of the area. We'll detail it all for you coming up in your WRTV Storm Team forecast when Good Morning Indiana continues in just a couple minutes.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. The Indiana Supreme Court has suspended statewide jury trials until March the 1st. Justices cited the need for drastic measures as COVID-19 cases continue to surge in our state. The court said more than 6,000 Hoosiers have died from the virus, and Indiana has the 4th highest daily cases per 100,000 residents in the nation. Chief Justice Loretta Rush said by limiting non-essential in-court proceedings, Indiana courts can avoid intensifying the pandemic's impact across Indiana. Courts are still conducting business as they have been since the pandemic began, either remotely or via virtual proceedings. In Washington, the U.S. Supreme Court handed a win to same-sex couples seeking to be listed together on their children's birth certificates. The court declined to hear the case filed by Indiana Attorney General Curtis Hill. Hill was seeking to reverse a lower court's ruling, which found that Indiana's laws that could limit that can be called a parent on a birth certificate were unconstitutional. We spoke with Jonathan Balish. He and his husband Jacob have an 8-year-old son, Truman. They tell us it just makes sense for both of them to be listed as parents on all of their son's official documents.
I'm thrilled and surprised, but absolutely pleased that the Supreme Court came back so quickly to reject looking at this. It comes down to equal rights. For heterosexual married couples, there is a presumption of parentage that is permitted to be put onto the birth certificate. And so that same presumption should exist for legally married same-sex couples.
Attorney General Curtis Hill's office says they were disappointed that the court declined to take up the case. U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr has resigned, and the president announced the news on Twitter on Monday. The president has been critical of Barr for not announcing an investigation into President-elect Joe Biden's son, Hunter, before the election. The president was also angered after Barr said that there was no evidence of widespread voter fraud during the election. Despite the rising tensions, the president said he and Barr have had a very good relationship. Barr will step down before the end of the month, and Deputy Attorney General Jeff Rosen will fill the role as acting Attorney General. The time now is 4:46, and President-elect Joe Biden is calling for a spirit of unity and healing. He addressed the nation last night after the Electoral College voted to formalize his election victory. Biden earned 306 electoral votes, cementing his win over President Trump. In a speech from Delaware, Biden said he hopes no one is subjected to the threats and abuse seen in this election. He also told Americans to start looking to the future. In technology news, Apple is working to make data transparency much easier for you. The company is rolling out what it calls nutrition labels for apps. The information breaks down what kind of data is collected and shared from each app, from financial and location information to browsing as well as purchase history. The feature debuted Monday, and labels will be added to more apps in the days ahead. Developers were previously required to have a privacy policy and to link it to their App Store product page. The new labels will package them into a more digestible visual format. They'll be displayed near reviews and display details about in-app purchases. The FDA has approved a genetically modified pig that promises a number of uses, including being safe to eat by people with certain allergies. It's the first time in history that a genetically modified animal has been approved for both food and biomedical purposes. The new gall-safe pig, as it's called, can help people who have an alpha gall allergy, which is sometimes triggered by tick bites. Now, in the future, it's hoped that the gall-safe pig could also potentially produce organs for transplant and tissues like skin grafts for humans in need. A company called Rivicor developed the modified pig. It is the same company that cloned Dolly the sheep back in 1996. The time now is 4:48. Time to check on your local forecast with our Todd Clausen. Good morning, TK.
Yeah, Raphael, good morning. It is a really, really cold start to our Tuesday here across the area. I think as soon as you walk out the door, that's probably what you're going to notice the most. The skies are partly cloudy. And here is a view for you as you look past the One America building in White River State Park there off in the distance. But the temperature, that sits currently at 24 degrees in Indy with a feels-like temperature of 16. And the wind, not as strong as yesterday, but still able to factor in wind out of the northeast right now at 7 miles per hour, and that's putting that wind chill down into the teens. Here are your actual temperatures. The actual temperature is 19 in Bedford right now, 20 in Bloomington as well as Richmond, 22 is the current reading up in Peru, and 22 in Greencastle. So it's a very, very cold start as expected across the area with some wind chill values that are in the teens. But again, as a whole, the wind's not as strong as yesterday, so we're not getting those widespread teens all across the area. So where do we go from here? Well, clouds are already increasing. I do think we have some sunshine here this morning, and then throughout the afternoon it will become overcast with temperatures that'll be topping off in the low 30s across the area. And so it's going to be another day with temperatures that are going to be below normal and for the most part at or just above freezing. And that's going to be key with our next weather maker getting ready to move in. You can see the snow off to our west, and the new computer models are coming in a little wetter with this system than they were yesterday. They kind of started to ramp up yesterday evening. And so we are expecting some snow across the area. Nothing throughout the daytime hours or this evening if you have plans. It'll just be cloudy with temperatures right around 32 degrees. The snow doesn't come in until the overnight hours, but it is going to impact your Wednesday morning commute. So by about this time tomorrow morning, we are looking at the snow to come into the area. Accumulation, again, I had to bump up the totals a little bit, about 1 to 3 inches across most of the area. Not everybody's going to get up to that 3-inch threshold, but I think there will be some areas that will. And we'll kind of deal with the rain and snow showers off and on. It's all snow showers through the morning hours, and then as we get into the afternoon, that's where we could mix in a little bit of rain in southern locations. And you can see it coming in here on a TrueCast. It develops tomorrow morning between about 4 and 5 o'clock, and then it becomes a little more widespread throughout the morning hours into the afternoon as well. Here's a little bit of that mixing to the south that may cut down on your snowfall totals now in the Seymour and Greensburg area. You're probably in that 1 to 2 inch range, but most of central Indiana, again, in that about 1 to 3 inch range for snowfall totals across the area, with maybe some higher totals right along the state line there in Richmond down into Connorsville. So tomorrow, you have to give yourself some extra time. Again, that doesn't come all within a couple hours. It's throughout the duration of the day. So I think the roads will be treated, and they should be fairly decent throughout the day, especially in the afternoon hours. But 35 is your high tomorrow, and then pretty quiet as we head into the weekend with a nice little warm-up heading our way. Raphael?
So, Todd, I'll be in the living room tomorrow, so I'll be watching from home with you. As we check your traffic this morning, a big good morning to Muncie, Avon, and Columbus. Let's stay south of Indianapolis. This is I-65 at Southport Road. This is the southbound lane of I-65 in that area, closed for 3 hours due to maintenance work. So keep that in mind if you're heading south on 65 towards Franklin, Columbus, as well as maybe Jeffersonville. You will find some delays as you head south on 65 beyond Indianapolis. The NCAA has announced plans for the 2021 Women's Division I Basketball Championships. They will be held in one geographic area, similar to what was announced last month for the men's tournament. The NCAA is in talks with the city of San Antonio and the surrounding area as the potential site for the 64-team tournament. San Antonio is already slated to host the Final Four in April. The chairman of the committee said one of the site promotes the health, and safety of all involved. You'll remember that last month we reported that the NCAA announced it was in initial talks with the state of Indiana to have the Circle City host the entire men's Division I basketball tournament. Indy is already slated to host the Final Four from April the 3rd all the way through April the 5th. The pandemic has been hard on mental health, especially on young kids. Ahead at 5 o'clock, what parents should be watching out for and the help that is available right now here in Central Indiana. That story and much more on Good Morning Indiana on WRTV.
All right, welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Temperatures are cold this morning. We're sitting in the 20s, up to 35 this afternoon with increasing clouds. Tomorrow's a sloppy day for us. We start off with snow in the morning, and then we'll keep it snow for most of us throughout the afternoon, although southern locations will get into a little bit of a mixture. Could see 1 to 3 inches, then quiet for the rest of the work week with a warm-up heading into the weekend. More on this forecast and your latest news headlines coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on WRTV.